Hey, first grade friends, it's Mrs. Bigliotti. So we're going to get ready to color kind of half of the head here because it's going to take a while to get all of this colored. So here's where our crazy lines are going to start to come in, and you guys are going to see how as I start to draw. So choices, color choices, lots of color choices. I like this purple, but I think I'm going to start using some blue. Remember, you guys can use any colors that you want. You can use the same colors as I do, or you can use totally different colors. As you can see, I did not go with colors that an emu normally is. I went with kind of different bright colors. Obviously, emus are normally like brown and black. My emu is purple. But I think that's okay, right? Because he's my emu. I want to make him purple. All right, so I'm just picking some different colors. Now, I have about 6 different colors here. I kind of went with some purples and blues. You can pick any colors that you want. The one thing I am going to say is you do want to make sure you choose at least 3 different colors. So if you, let's say, for example, you were doing blue, you could do these 3 different blues. So I sort of have a dark blue, a medium blue, and a light blue. So even if you want to stick with just one color, you can use, you still have to use those 3 different versions of that color. Okay, so our emu's face, I'm going to start about like right here to do half of the emu's face. So we're not coloring the eyes or the beak just yet. We're going to leave those alone. So we're just going to start adding our feather lines. So just like we added short feather lines to the neck, we're going to start adding longer feather lines to the head. So where you kind of stop is where your emu's face is going to be. So I'll show you guys. So if I start, I'm going to start just on this cheek and work up and then work down. So here's my emu's feathers. Yes, I know they look like whiskers right now, but as we add more, this will change. So what you guys can do too is start to add some of those crazy lines. So I did a little lightning line there. Maybe I'll do another straight one. I'm going to start going up here. Maybe I do a loopy line like that, and then straight, and zigzag, straight. And I'm just working, and I'm just using my single color right now to fill this in. And notice some of them I'm making short, some of them I'm making long. And I'm going to start right in the middle right here with some long feathers. I'm actually going to curve that one over. So add some little curves to that one. But notice, boys and girls, I am not coloring. I'm just using lines. So I can start to add some little ones around the eyes. And I'm just sort of curving some of them just around the eyes. And maybe I'd use another lightning line. And you're like, Mrs. V, there's so much white space. I know. We're going to get rid of some of it. Trust me. We're going to start using some of those crazy colors. And I'm using some of my different lines just to give a different kind of a feel to my emu. So now you can see I'm starting to go in with my different lines. And my lines will overlap. And that's okay. So kind of some of the ones I'm using next to one another. And I'm going over, but notice I'm not coloring in. Not coloring in. I'm just using straight lines to fill in. Maybe I do a short one and a long one and a short one. And the reason we're only doing half today is because this does take a long time. This is not an easy job by any means. Okay, this is a very careful coloring. So it's different than our other coloring. It's kind of advanced coloring. And I thought, you know what? My first grade, they can totally handle it. I totally thought my first grade friends could handle this. You guys are such good artists. And I'm going to put some purple down here, some long, some short. And notice I'm just working on filling all this in. And I'm just kind of doing some straight lines. And again, lines, not coloring. And see, he's starting to look a little crazy now. He's got kind of a crazy hairdo, but I like that. I like how it kind of goes up here and out here. Kind of crazy emu hairdo here. And I am using some of my crazy lines. Some of them work better than others. Some, like the dash line works nice. The loop-de-loop line works really well. I'm going to start adding in some of my other colors because we want this to be just as dark as this. Actually, I think I'm going to switch to blue. Start adding some blue because I'm purple, a lot of purple. So let's start adding that blue in. And I'm kind of now just looking for spots that might need an extra stripe of color. And I'm going right up against that beak right here with this blue color and just starting my line. And bringing that color kind of in between. It's like you're filling in those little spots now that you might have missed with your crayon. And it really is easier to work on one half at a time because, like I said, this takes a while to get this nice and solid and dark by just using our lines. This takes a long time. So this is not something that's going to happen super fast. If you need to take a little break, that is something that you can do, right? Sometimes your hand gets tired. So I'm just doing a couple little curved lines. I'm going to do a wavy line just to fill in some of that space, fill in some of those zigzag right here. Kind of made it straight. Maybe I'll do a little extra loopy line right there just to kind of give it a little bit. All right, so I think I'm pretty good with this blue, so I'm going to try my other blue here. I'm not really sure what it's going to look like because crayons can look, it's kind of a gray blue. That's pretty. Crayons can look different. Like the wrappers and the crayons look different than like the color the crayon really is. So sometimes you think you're using one color, but it's another. It's kind of a gray blue, which is pretty. So I'm just going to kind of fill in. Again, I'm just looking for those empty spaces, especially kind of right in this area, right close to the beak and the eye. I'm just looking for those white spaces that might need to be filled in just a little bit more than they already are. All right, I'm going to try this. Ooh, dark purple. He ran away on me. Oh, this is a curl dark purple. It's kind of a dark grape color. So I'm just going in and I'm just filling, and I'm just, again, still using little lines to fill in all of my coloring. And I just broke my crayon. Mrs. V has crazy Hulk strength and broke the crayon because I was pressing down so hard. All right. So I'm just going to keep working on filling in my spaces. Okay, guys. So I think I'm going to try a light kind of purple and a light blue to fill in some of these. Maybe I'll use a pink to fill in some of these white spaces. So I've got lots of lines. I bet if we counted these lines I'd have like over 100 lines. So now I'm just still making those straight lines. You can see every time I make a line, I pick up my hand. Just trying to fill in that white space right here. And it's nice to fill in with a lighter color. So this light purple because it really lets these kind of brighter colors pop. I think I'm going to go and I'm going to grab my red violet because that's a color that I used a lot in here just to bring that color into my face just a little bit. This red violet. So they just match a little bit. I'm just bringing some lines down into the neck so that it's now connected. And I could even take some of this blue and bring that into the neck. Just a little bit. Just to, again, make it look connected. Like it's all part of one thing. So I'm just working on filling in those white spaces with my different lines and kind of like just doing strokes, short little strokes, short little lines, kind of like a little bit like dashed lines just to fill in. But you can see how pretty this is really starting to look. So I'm going to work on this section right here. And I'm doing some curved lines. Right, and I'm going to do another loop-de-loop. Just to fill that in. And I'll put some in right here next to his eye. And you want to stop, so you don't want to color over the eye. You want to stop. All right, I think I'm going to switch to my light purple that I was using. Put some of that in there. And I'm kind of taking it section by section. So this section looks pretty good. So now I'm just working on this section. Just to make sure I get all my white spaces. And you might not get every single white space, but you definitely want to try. So we want to try to get all of those white spaces and all of our artwork filled in. And again, the only reason we're doing half is because this takes a while, but it looks so cool. You know, his little face looks so cool. So I'm just going to start to fill this in. So I'm kind of switching colors, guys, as I go. Do another loop-de-loop right here. Just switching those colors out. And if it's easier to, boys and girls, you can turn your paper. It's easier to work this way. I don't want anybody to think, like, if it's harder for you to work in the other direction, you can always turn your paper. So that's something that I sometimes will do is turn my paper. So I'm just filling in. It's okay to kind of have a little bit of space out here, but you really want to fill in all of really close to the face there. I don't have too many of those white spaces. So I'm kind of being a detective and really just kind of looking for those white spaces to fill in with my crayon. And again, still not coloring, just making lines. Right, just short little lines. And because I'm using this in the lighter color, all my darker colors still pop out, which is nice. So that's another like good tip is to use the darker colors first and then fill in the white spaces with a lighter color. So if you, again, I'll go back to my blue example. If you were using blue, use the dark blue and the medium blue to get kind of your crazy lines in, your zigzags, your loop-de-loops, your lightning lines, you know, and a lot of your straight lines and curved lines and curvy lines, use those darker colors, the dark and medium blue, to fill those in. And use a lighter color to just fill in any spaces you might miss, because those darker colors will still pop. Whereas if you use a lighter color first, and then go over it with a darker color, you kind of lose some of your beautiful lines that you've been making. So you can see I've got this crazy emu. It's just crazy. Looking good. I'm going to take some of my light blue just to fill in here. Again, I'm just being a detective, looking for those white spaces that I might have missed. And notice I'm still not coloring. I'm just making those short little lines and using my colors. Kind of that I started off with. I ended up using, I think, about 6 colors, but you can use less than that if you want to. You can use more than that if you want to. It's totally up to you. All right, guys. So my emu's face is just about filled up. Got some good colors here. All right, guys. So that is it for today. Just half the face. You see that took a while, and I don't want you guys to, have to feel like you have to do the whole thing at once. So half and half, all right? So this is our lesson for today, doing half our emu's face. Remember though, guys, you want to try to use the same colors on one side of the face as the other. I mean, it could look cool if you didn't. I don't know. Maybe. That's a thought. Okay. Anyway, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I hope you enjoyed the emu coloring. Remember, leave the beak and the eyes for now. Just work on the neck and half that face. Okay, guys. Don't do the whole one, okay? All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.